Purposefully Profitable Podcast, episode 24. It's Words of Wisdom Wednesday on the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, and I'm your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ, CEO and founder of Systro, organization strategist for small business, pointing you to the principles that will help you progress purposefully towards your profitability and prosperity. Wednesday's words of wisdom come from Lao Tzu. Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is power. Personal development as part of the program for becoming purposefully profitable cannot be overemphasized. Lao Tzu's quote makes the case that personal development involves both internal and external considerations. Putting your attention on these four categories will lead you to mastery of the very things that provide you with purposeful profitability. Knowledge of others and self will yield positive effects, but mastery of others and self will move mountains. Lao Tzu also places emphasis on the consideration that knowing and mastering oneself is the most fruitful use of energy. It's much easier to control oneself than it is to control others. Wisdom and power enable a person to make more change with less effort. Let's break it down. Knowing others is intelligence. In thinking about people outside the organization, it's just plain smart to consider what is causing them to suffer. The more precise you are at framing the problem, the better you will be at finding solutions, and the easier it will be to communicate a clear and meaningful message that connects with potential customers and clients. When thinking about people inside the organization, what you know about others will have an effect on how you build your team. Do you hire people who are just like you? Or do you select people who will bring strengths that fill gaps? The things you want to know about others, both inside and outside the organization, are desired outcomes, personal values, personality, communication style, work ethic, and learning style. Thinking about people in this way will provide focus to your preparation. These areas of interest go directly to establishing a meaningful connection. Knowing these things will help you understand why people make decisions as they do. How much time should you spend trying to understand others? There are two quotes that answer this question. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. And no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. A couple of bonuses for this Words of Wisdom Wednesday. How you use your knowledge of others is an ethical issue that you must address. Will you use the knowledge you gain to persuade, to manipulate, to punish, or to prepare yourself to relieve other people's pain? When do our methods for getting knowledge about others become a violation of their privacy? With the methods that currently exist for collecting information and the trends that indicate what is coming, this part of Lao Tzu's perspective is not to be taken lightly. As you prepare to be the best at what you do, there is no substitute for knowing about other people. The two sides to the purposefully profitable problem, knowing how people are hurting and knowing how you can help them, gives you options regarding where to start. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. We evaluate the world around us based on what we know about ourselves. This concept was covered in detail on the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, episode 3. When we have the choice, we navigate to people who look like us and gravitate to people who think like us. As we travel outside our small communities, we learn to expand our understanding of ourselves, which in turn expands our perspectives on other people. We place more emphasis on values than we do on image when we have this type of world experience. This is wisdom. The difference between intelligence and wisdom is insight. Intelligence is our ability to learn and helps in the accumulation of information and knowledge. Wisdom is the judgment we develop as a result of applying the information and knowledge we've accumulated through experience. The things you need to know about yourself. The things you need to know about yourself are desired outcomes, personal values, personality, communication style, work ethic, and learning style. Sound familiar? But in addition, you need to know your skills, talents, and abilities. When you think about yourself in terms of these things, you will find clarity on what will bring you fulfillment. You will choose your path without apology. You will have patience. You will be confident in your decisions because embracing who you are will give you the courage to go where you want to be. And it will give you the determination to overcome all obstacles. Knowing yourself begins with knowing your talent. If you believe that you are on earth for a purpose, then the talent gift that you were given at birth will tell you where you fit. In the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, episode 4, we spend some time describing what you need to do to reconnect with your talent if you happen to have lost your way. As I mentioned then, and I repeat with emphasis now, do not undervalue your talent. It's precious. Embrace it. Quiet the voices of everyone who has ever told you that your gift is worthless and start on the path to personal prosperity now. Your talent will tell you what skills you need in order to solve someone's problem. The good news is you have probably developed tremendous skill already because it's likely that every time you had a choice, you did something that had something to do with your talent. You built skill without even knowing it. In his book, Outliers, which has the potential to make it onto a Teach Yourself Thursday podcast, Malcolm Gladwell says that it takes approximately 10,000 hours to achieve mastery. 10,000 hours is a long time. If you assume 40 hours of work per week, the math comes out to 250 weeks or approximately 5 years. When I learned that organization development was an area in which I had talent, I found that I had in excess of 30 years of experience. I actually identified my talent by asking myself what I had already been doing for 15 years as a way to determine what product or service I should choose following the sale of my first business. I want to stop for a moment and share an observation. In my very first business, I performed a service for which I had no talent, skill, or ability. It was very hard. But during my journey, I noticed a trend. It took most successful businesses 20 years to hit the hockey stick effect, which is the point at which exponential growth happens. It's called the hockey stick effect because on a graph, it looks like a hockey stick. Since I was not a spring chicken, having had a 27-year career in the military and 3 years in business already, I realized that I didn't have 20 years to invest. So I asked myself the question, what have I already been doing for 15 years that might give me a head start on the 20-year curve? It turned out that I've had an organization development mentality since childhood, and the majority of my military career and what I believe made me successful was spent using organization development type approaches. As a result, I've been building my company around organization development solutions and truly loving my path to purposeful profitability. Now, back to the show. As you assess yourself, look at the skills you have currently mastered and the skills you have the greatest capacity to master in the future. Use what you already have. And if you want to change directions in your life, start where you already have some effort invested. You will not likely have to begin at 0 hour if you start with one of your talents. We often overlook our talent because we enjoy ourselves so much when we are operating in our area of talent that we discount the value. When we are functioning from a position of personal power, we don't count the hours, and they seem to pass like minutes. So it's likely that if you decide to build a business around your talent, then you probably have far in excess of 10,000 hours invested. Mastering others is strength. I assume that you've heard the phrase, there's strength in numbers. Having a network of people who are ambassadors for your business, as well as resources for helping your clients with problems that are outside of your area of expertise, is priceless. Mastering others means bringing people together in a common purpose. Mastering others means putting people in position to perform at their best, whether they are customers or employees. Mastering others means creating an environment where people can excel. If your customers are depending on you to deliver their products, then you will know that, and you will make sure that they can delight their customers. Only through a measure of mastery will you be able to magnify your relationships with others. Mastering others means understanding that mastery does not mean control. I am a believer in control. I think it's critical to success and to achieving desired outcomes. That is, until it comes to people. No one wants to be told what to do, and no one wants to have their creativity crushed, their input disregarded, and their intellect insulted. Manipulating, managing, and making people feel meaningless is not mastery. You can control an environment, you can control yourself, you can control a budget, you can control a timeline, but you can only control people at your peril. The profit is in your people. Physical strength is characterized by capacity to lift weight. A strong person has the capacity to move heavy objects. People strength is characterized by the capacity to get missions accomplished. 2 heads are better than 1. Many hands make light work. You've heard it. Mastering yourself is power. Strength is defined as the capacity to exert force. Power is the creation of explosiveness through a combination of strength and speed. Bringing people together is strength, but getting them to perform as a team is power. As leaders, we have several types of power. We have the power of authority. We have the power of personality. We have the power of the purse strings, and we have the power of persuasion. Which of these powers will be effective for getting people performing at a high level will be different for each of us. The uniqueness of our skills, talents, abilities, knowledge, and experiences gives us a combination of strength that forms the foundation for our effectiveness. When we struggle with who we are, why we are here, how we fit, and what we do, we feel the very opposite of power. We feel powerless. That feeling of helplessness drains our energy. We just want to lie down and take a nap. Mastering yourself is the process of embracing the power you possess and being authentic in your leadership. Striving to be the best in the world at what you do best. No apologies. To master yourself, you must never stop learning, and you must never stop listening. In the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, episode 13, we cover why simply knowing yourself has limitations. Mastery means ever evolving in an ever evolving environment. As the world grows, you grow. Mastery is most easily achieved when you are motivated to be magnificent. Today's words of wisdom were expressed by Lao Tzu, an ancient Chinese philosopher and writer. Lao Tzu is traditionally regarded as the author of the Tao Te Ching, which describes the Tao as the source and ideal of all existence. It is unseen, powerful, and humble. Here are today's key points in summary. 1. Today's quote. Lao Tzu wrote, "Knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom." Mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is power. 2. Knowing others will help you build an effective team. 3. Knowing yourself will help you have confidence in your decisions and help you serve with satisfaction. 4. Mastering others will help you to be an effective leader. 5. Mastering yourself will help you to be the best in the world at what you do best. This has been Words of Wisdom Wednesday with your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes. Tune in tomorrow for Teach Yourself Thursday, where we talk about a book that will help you master yourself and others on the way to purposefully building a profitable business. If you have questions or feedback, please forward them to russ@systro.org. We would love to hear from you. Subscribe to the Purposefully Profitable Podcast today so that you will not miss a single episode. And thank you for listening.